We're back talking about quarterbacks. Deshaun Watson is going to meet with the NFL this week, his first hearing. Chris Adamski, what should he get? What will he get, in your opinion?
It's kind of fascinating. It comes out the NFL, it seems like, leaked wants at least a season. So, and it makes sense from a PR perspective that they shoot high, and it's also negotiation sort of that the union's in a tricky spot here. I mean, they're trying to make it as little as possible, which is for PR reasons and whatnot. It's not the best look, but that's their job, is to defend their guy and everything. So I think the league wants to try to push for a season, which makes me believe it'll be a little less than a season. So I would probably say 8 games is what I would be looking at right now.
That's exactly what I'm thinking. I'm thinking it should be at least a season, but to your point, if that's where their starting point is, and they're going to allow themselves to be negotiated down, probably 8 games is where it's going to settle, in my opinion, too.
I think he'll take anything less than a season. I think he'd settle it, and the reason why I say that, Bob, is because if he gets the full season, the contract doesn't toll. And remember, they manipulated it, so it's only $1 million salary. He doesn't want that $1 million salary in 2023. He wants to take that right now. He doesn't want 2 years at $1 million.
I just don't know.
Yeah, but does he have the kind of leverage to get that done? Because
no,
I'm saying
if the NFL said 12, he might say, fine. If they say 16, he might take it all the way up the courts like Brady did and like Ezekiel Elliott did. And who knows? I mean, that's, to me, the issue.
But we're talking
about they clearly manipulated that for a reason, to your point.
But we're talking about code of conduct. This has nothing to do with criminality, which he's already been taken off on that one.
Well, what did deflated footballs have to do with criminality? And Brady still got that. He didn't.
What about gambling on football? We saw that in Atlanta, and it turned out to be a year suspension, was it?
I just don't know practically.
Calvin Ridley.
After you get past 10, maybe 12, I don't know practically. It's not like you can suspend somebody 15 or 16 or 17 game season now. It would be very awkward to have a player come back and play one game. The Browns probably wouldn't even want that at that point. So once you get past 10 or 12, I don't know if you can really do anything more. There's no 13's an odd number. You know what I mean? It probably, I can't see it any more than, if it's not a season, 10, maybe 12. And even 12, if you're the Browns, I guess you would take them back for the final 5 games, depending on how your team's doing and what quarterback you have, and that's a whole other question. Where they end up
what does this do, Josh, for Baker Mayfield? And let's say it is a year. Let's say it does go that route. Are they okay with Jacoby Brissett? They have a roster that's to me, competitive right now. Do they do that, or do they try to make amends with Baker Mayfield? Is it too late?
Well, Cleveland's in a weird position because not only did they kind of didn't just jilt Baker Mayfield for a new girlfriend, but they also brought another side piece to jilt Baker Mayfield, too, in Jacoby Brissett. So it's really tailored at this point for Cleveland to just start Brissett for the time period you have Deshaun Watson not on the field, trade Baker Mayfield, and try to get a draft pick or two back. Because how many did you get rid of trying to get Deshaun Watson? Move Baker Mayfield and try to get some draft capital back to have something down the road here. They got to get some value.
I agree. Pittsburgh's doing this weird thing this entire offseason, where Steelers fans and some Steelers media, I'm not pointing at Chris, are now doing this whole thing where they blame the team and not the player, the quarterback. I've never seen this before. Mitch Trubisky, it's all the Bears' fault. Baker Mayfield, it's all the Browns' fault. Baker Mayfield among Steelers fans, his popularity has never been higher. Like when there was that report that they might cut him, Steelers fans and Steelers media came out of the woodwork to say, well, look at all the offensive coordinators he had there. It's bizarre to me. There's like no personal quarterback accountability this offseason.
And there should be, because he was given everything.
He was.
He had a run game that was the best in the NFL.
I think it's
a good defense.
I think it's complete baloney that Trubisky was not put in a good situation in Chicago. He had the best defense that forced the most turnovers in the entire league. How would a quarterback not want to play in that system? Short fields? And you got to score 2 touchdowns a game to win?
Right.
In fairness, one of the years he had that, they did go to the playoffs. So he did make something out of it. He just didn't do it consistently.
We have 1 minute left. Chris, I want to ask you about Trubisky, Rudolph, and Pickett. That's the order going into training camp. Does it change at any time?
I don't say, listen, I'm not saying at all Kenny Pickett has not looked good at all in camp, but he certainly hasn't distinguished himself to a point where he was, I think the Steelers and everybody, the Steelers fans would have hoped he would have come to minicamp, OTAs.
Was he given a legitimate chance, though? He didn't get any of the number one.
So you could say, is that why, or is it because if he was good enough, would they have given him more chances? Right? I mean, let's face it. We know, everybody knows Mason Rudolph is not going to be part of the future. If this kid was really knocking everybody's socks off, okay, we're not going to play the veteran deference here. We're going to move up to at least number 2. I don't know. There's a long way to go. There's still training camp. We'll see how it works. But I'm more convinced than ever after minicamp and OTAs that Trubisky's going to start week 1 and from there, we'll see how, on the field we'll determine it.
Training camp's going to be the crucible for Kenny Pickett. I'll go with the old adage, just not how you start, it's how you finish. He might start training camp as the number 3 guy, but they invested a first-round pick in him. He was the number 1 quarterback taken. I believe he's really part of their future. He'll start training camp as number 3, but he'll come out at least as the number 2. And if something goes wrong with Trubisky, he'll be on deck ready to go.
I agree with that.
Trubisky's a practice MVP. When the lights aren't on, he looks great. That's why he was the number 2 pick in the draft, because he's got tangible skills. He's got great physical tools. Everybody loves him. He's a nice guy. He puts all the work in. But, Monday through Saturday, he might be the best quarterback in the league. Get back to me on game day. That's where Pickett shines. Pickett's got
but we haven't seen it at this level yet. Trubisky's had success at this level.
We didn't see it from Burrow or Mac Jones. And those guys, and both of those guys had one good college year.
I get that. We're out of time, unfortunately. I wish we could continue with that topic. We can't. When we come back, though, we're going to talk about the Pirates. Is this the beginning of the resurgence that people expect from a rebuild? We'll talk about it next right here on KDKA.